Hey guys, it's Saga, and in this video, I am comparing the cameras on the Realme 8 Pro with the ones on the Redmi Note 10 Pro. Yes, you heard me right, I am comparing the 108 megapixel camera on the Realme 8 Pro with the 64 megapixel camera on the Redmi Note 10 Pro. Now I saw a bunch of videos comparing the cameras on the Realme 8 Pro with the ones on the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max. But many of you wanted to see the 108 megapixel camera on the Realme 8 Pro compared with the 64 megapixel camera on the regular Redmi Note 10 Pro. So that is what this video is about. Don't worry, I have also purchased the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max, so after watching this video, if you still want me to compare its camera with the Realme 8 Pro, just let me know in the comment section. We have over 90 image and video samples from both these phones to go through. So to keep this video from getting too long, I will just leave the camera specs on both these phones on this slide. You can pause the video and go through them if you want. Now before we get to the image and video samples, if you are new to this channel, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon next to it. It is free and takes just a couple of seconds, but it goes a long way in helping my channel grow. I try to take a lot of images in as many lighting conditions as I can, so you guys know how both these cameras perform in those conditions. We have to start somewhere, so let us begin by looking at the daytime images. Both these phones capture a lot of details in each of their shots. Redmi Note 10 Pro captures 16 megapixel images by default, and the Realme 8 Pro captures 12 megapixel images in the auto mode. Both of them are using pixel binning. On the Note 10 Pro it is 4:1 pixel binning, and on the Realme 8 Pro it is 9:1. Realme has a high resolution main camera, so we assume that there will be more details in its shots. But as I zoom in on this image, we can clearly see more details in the Redmi shot. It is not just with this image. You can see similar thing when I zoom in on this next image as well. I'm just as surprised as you guys. Realme's images should be showing more details, but they are not. And just to remind you again, we are comparing 108 megapixel camera on this Realme 8 Pro with the 64 megapixel camera on the regular Redmi Note 10 Pro. Since this is the first time Realme is using this 108 megapixel sensor, I think they need some time to optimize it. That being said, if you don't zoom in, Realme 8 Pro's images are showing better looking colors. I have said this in its detailed camera review that the Redmi Note 10 Pro adds a bit of green tint to its shots, and you can see that clearly in this image. Now if you look only at the images from the Redmi Note 10 Pro, you might not notice this green tint, but it becomes very apparent when compared to the images from other phones. Redmi Note 10 Pro also captures a lot of contrast, so the shadows in its images appear a lot darker than they should. I wish Redmi just fixes these two issues with a software update. Redmi also captures slightly warmer color tones, whereas the Realme 8 Pro tends to lean on the cooler side. Speaking of colors, Realme 8 Pro saturates them a lot, whereas the Redmi Note 10 Pro captures pleasing looking colors, which are more closer to how the things look in real life. I don't mind having a bit of pop in my images from time to time, but Realme sometimes goes overboard and completely changes the color of the entire scene. I get that color is a personal choice and everyone perceives them in a different way. So some might like the natural looking colors coming out of the Redmi Note 10 Pro, while others might prefer the vivid colors coming out of the Realme 8 Pro. Just pick the one that you like and stick to it. If you want to add even more saturation to your colors, you can turn on the AI mode on both these phones. Redmi adds a slight pop to its natural looking colors, but images from the Realme 8 Pro are on a whole another level. I don't know who might like this amount of saturation in their images, but more importantly, I wish the AI mode did something more than just adding saturation to the colors. On both these phones, the scene is detected accurately when AI is turned on. But companies need to do much more with this mode than just make the images pop out. Because right now, this mode just seems to be taking images with a vivid filter on. Let us now check out how these phones handle the higher dynamic range. Here is the same image from both the phones with the HDR mode turned off. We see the shadows being crushed from both of them. But with the HDR mode turned on, same image looks so much better. Both of them seem to have brought back a lot of details from the shadows, but you can clearly see that the Realme 8 Pro did a better job. It made the overall image look brighter, whereas the Note 10 Pro's image looks a bit dull in comparison. We see something similar in this next set of images. While both of them seem to have handled the dynamic range really well in these shots, one from the Realme 8 Pro looks slightly better to me. Actually, this one is too close to call for me, so I will let you guys be the judge for this image. Now in the next shot, while there is a slight green tint from the Note 10 Pro, it clearly did a better job with the dynamic range. It handled the bright sun better, and you can see more details in the shadows in its image compared to the one from the Realme 8 Pro. In this one, while the Realme 8 Pro did a wonderful job with the dynamic range in the brighter part of the image, it completely crushed the darker areas. Redmi Note 10 Pro on the other hand handled the shadows in a much better way, but it completely blew out the highlights in the sky. It looks like the HDR mode is a hit or a miss on both these phones. In some of the shots, one of them is doing a very good job, but in the very next image, they mess it up and the other one seems to be doing better. Hopefully, this is something that can be improved via software updates on both these phones. Before we move on to the close-up shots, here is a quick focusing speed test from both these phones. Both of them are just as fast at switching the focus from a far to near object and then back again. And this shift in focus is just as abrupt on both. This is not an issue while clicking images, but it doesn't look very good while shooting videos. Thanks to the fast and accurate focusing, you can take very good close-up shots on both these phones. The subject closest to the camera or the one that you tap on is slightly sharper in the close-up from the Redmi Note 10 Pro. You might notice it when you are looking at these images side by side, but when you look at the close-up shots from the Realme 8 Pro alone, you might never notice that. Both the phones have big sensors and wide aperture, so the background in both their images get a very nice optical blur. If you want to get even closer to your subject, both these phones come with a dedicated macro camera. This is how much close the macro camera on the Realme 8 Pro lets you get to the subject. And now here is how much closer the one on the Redmi Note 10 Pro will let you get. Just look at how good, sharp and detailed macro shots from the Redmi Note 10 Pro are and how much better they look in front of the ones from the Realme 8 Pro. If macro photography is your thing, just go with the Redmi Note 10 Pro. Like the dedicated macro camera, both these phones also get a dedicated wide-angle lens. This is how the main camera sees a scene. And here is how the wide-angle lens sees the same scene. It will let you get so much more of the scene in the shot. Since both are using an 8 megapixel wide-angle camera with nearly same aperture and field of view, there are similar amount of details in these wide shots. Just as with the images from the main camera, colors look different in these wide shots and you can see some distortion or artifacting towards the corners of these images. That being said, since they show slightly better colors, I like the wide shots from the Realme 8 Pro. As I mentioned earlier, by default, Realme 8 Pro captures 12 megapixel images and the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max is capturing 16 megapixel shots. If you want to capture high resolution images, you can switch to the 108 megapixel mode and 64 megapixel mode on the Realme 8 Pro and the Redmi Note 10 Pro respectively. Earlier, we established the fact that Redmi's images are more detailed when shooting at the default resolution. But when it comes to high resolution shots, 108 megapixel ones from the Realme are showing slightly more details than the 64 megapixel ones from Redmi. The difference is very little and you will have to zoom in 7 to 8 times to even notice it. In some of the shots, we see even similar details from both of them, which is a big compliment for the 64 megapixel camera on the Redmi Note 10 Pro. Just look at these zoomed in shots. If I didn't label them, it would be very hard for anyone to say that which one of them is from the 108 megapixel camera. Since it is Realme's first experience with this image sensor, I am not being too critical about this. I hope with software updates, they make this phone use all the information from the huge sensor in a better way and make sure these images have a lot more details in them. I don't know about you guys, but portrait mode is my favorite mode to shoot in on any smartphone. I have always said it is the easiest way to give your smartphone's images a professional look. Both these phones are very good at detecting the edges and separating their subject from the background. I mean, they are not perfect and can use some fine-tuning via software updates as they miss out on some strands of hair every now and then. But just look at how good the portrait shots turned out from both these phones. Both of them also give us mixed results when there is bright background. One of them handles the dynamic range better in one shot and in the very next one, other one does better. So a little bit of consistency from both of them would be greatly appreciated. I also feel the main subject in these portrait shots is a bit sharper from the Note 10 Pro, whereas it is a bit softer in the portraits from the Realme 8 Pro. Both of them are equally good at taking portraits of objects. No matter how complex the object is, they manage to separate it from the background. I like to test these phones against straws and glasses filled with water. And as you can see, Realme 8 Pro is passing both these tests with flying colors. And the Redmi Note 10 Pro struggles a bit. So while the Note 10 Pro captures detailed and sharper subjects, Realme 8 Pro is the one showing slightly better edge detection while taking portraits of objects. That brings us to the images which I took in indoors, artificial and lower lighting conditions. When shooting in indoor artificial light, both these phones are very inconsistent with their color balance. In this shot, Note 10 Pro is showing accurate colors while the Realme 8 Pro made the scene look very warm. And we see the exact opposite thing in this next set of images. Realme 8 Pro captured accurate colors in this one. Note 10 Pro handles the exposure from the light a bit better in these situations. As we zoom in, we see a lot of noise in its image, while the one from the Realme 8 Pro is relatively clean. as the Redmi Note 10 Pro has f1.79 aperture as opposed to the f1.9 on the Realme 8 Pro, I imagined it would be the other way around. But it seems the ISP on the Realme 8 Pro is handling these situations better. As we move to even lower light, images from both these phones start moving further apart from each other. Ones from the Realme are a bit brighter and they still hold on to more details, but now they start showing more noise. And the ones from the Redmi are handling the brighter areas in the image much better. I said this in the dedicated camera review as well. Redmi really needs to improve the low light performance on the Note 10 Pro. Hopefully with a couple of software updates, they will. Now not that these images were exactly bad, but the images from both the phones look much better with the night mode turned on. With this mode on, Realme is now handling the exposure from lights better. It is also the one which is making the images appear sharper and the colors look good. I don't like to take a lot of images with these mid-budget smartphones when the light gets this low. But if I ever had to take them, I will be picking up the Realme 8 Pro to do so. Its images have more details. Everything appears a lot sharper and it also makes the colors look good in these lighting conditions. Redmi Note 10 Pro is not doing a bad job, but this is a comparison video and we are going to have to pick one over the other, and my pick for these lighting conditions is the Realme 8 Pro. That brings us to the front-facing cameras. Both the phones have a very similar selfie camera, so both of them capture similar amount of details. But when you look at them side by side, colors look a lot better in the selfies from the Realme 8 Pro. Unlike the rear camera, it is not adding a lot of saturation to these selfies, but the colors in the selfies from the Redmi Note 10 Pro are a bit too flat for some reason. That being said, even with the beauty mode or the skin smoothing turned off, Realme is still making the skin look smooth, which sometimes makes us feel that selfies from the Redmi Note 10 Pro are more detailed. Both of them can take portrait selfies, and here I feel the edge detection is a bit more accurate from the Redmi Note 10 Pro. But the overall look of the images is still better from the Realme 8 Pro. So because of the better looking colors right out of the camera, for selfies, I'm again going to choose the Realme 8 Pro. Now I am in the common area of my building, so I'm going to have to do this with the mask on. Here's a video with the front facing camera of the Redmi Note 10 Pro and the Realme 8 Pro. You can see how both these phones are handling the overall colors of the scene, exposure and stabilization when I'm walking around with them. Both can shoot 4K videos at 30 FPS, but these videos are not stabilized. They look particularly shaky if you are shooting these videos in the portrait mode. If you want to take 4K videos with these phones, you are going to have to be very still while shooting them. 1080p 30 FPS videos do get electronic stabilization. These videos look good from both the phones, but the Realme 8 Pro sometimes drops a few frames while shooting videos. And its display also gets very dim while you are shooting videos, so keep that in mind. Colors and dynamic range seems to be slightly better in Realme 8 Pro's 1080p videos. With that, we have seen over 90 image and video samples from both these phones. In bright daylight, despite of Realme 8 Pro having much high resolution camera, Redmi Note 10 Pro's images are showing more details and it also shows true to life colors. But there is a bit of green tint in some of its images, which you will have to fix with a bit of editing. Now the 108 megapixel images from the Realme are more detailed than the 64 megapixel ones from the Redmi Note 10 Pro, which is not a surprise, but you will have to look very hard to even notice this difference. Thanks to the subjects being a bit sharper, I prefer the portrait shots from the Redmi Note 10 Pro, and it also takes much better macro shots. With a very small margin, Realme 8 Pro comes on top in lower light, and it is also my choice for taking selfies. So overall, both these phones have their ups and downs. If you are someone who likes to take most of your shots in daytime, or if you take a lot of portrait or macro shots, you should go with the Redmi Note 10 Pro. But if you are someone who takes a lot of selfies and low light images, you might want to check out the Realme 8 Pro. These were my thoughts about the cameras on both these phones. But you guys saw the images too, so what do you guys have to say about the cameras on both these phones? Let me know in the comments. And if you would like to purchase any of these phones, I will really appreciate if you get them from the affiliate links in the description section. That is it for this video guys. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video and subscribe to the channel for more quality tech videos like this. You can also check out some of the other videos from this channel. This has been Sagar and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.